Today we discuss about the lipid. What is lipid? Lipid are fatty acid esters of alcohol and related substances which are insoluble in water but get dissolved in a non in a number of non-polar organic solvent like ether, benzene, chloroform, etc. So lipid is the so it is the it is a ester. It is a esters of fatty acid of fatty acid and alcohol and alcohol. It is the esters of the fatty acid and alcohol. It composed of it is composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. It is composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen does not 2.2:1, does not 2:1, okay, which are present in the glucose. In glucose, the ratio between hydrogen and oxygen is 2:1, but in case of lipid, they does not maintain this ratio. Okay. Then the classification of lipid. Then the classification of lipid. We can classify the lipid into following three groups. These are the simple lipid, simple, complex or conjugated, and derived lipid. Okay. Then what are simple lipid? Then what are the simple lipid? Simple lipid means these are formed from the fatty acid and alcohol. They do not have any additional group. Okay. As example, fat, suberin, cutin. These are the simple lipid. So example of simple lipid are fat, cutin, oil, etc. suberin, etc. Okay. Then compound lipid or complex lipid. The complex lipid possesses additional group beside the fatty acid and glycerol. Fatty acid and glycerol, they has a additional group. We can also classify the complex lipid into many groups such as phospholipid, the lipid which contains a additional phosphate group. Then glycolipid, in that case additional group is glucose or carbohydrate. Then we called it glycolipid. Then lipoprotein, when the additional group is protein. Then sphingolipid, here the additional group is amino group. Okay, these are the complex lipid. Then derived lipid. Derived lipid are lipid-like chemical. Derived lipids are lipid-like chemical or the derivatives of the lipid, such as terpene, prostaglandin, etc. As example, terpene, prostaglandin, etc. These are the J lipids. So that is the classification of lipid. Next, we discuss about the simple lipid. Simple lipid. We can also classify the simple lipid into two groups, that is fat, neutral, neutral, neutral or true fat, neutral or true fat, and and oils. These are the triglyceride. These are the triglyceride. Okay, triglyceride and waxes and wax. So we can classify the simple lipid into two groups, that are neutral or true fat and oils. These are the triglyceride and wax. Okay, then neutral or true fat. What are they? Neutral or true fat. Neutral or true fat are composed of a glycerol, glycerol and three fatty acids. So triglyceride are composed of one molecule of glycerol and three fatty acid molecule. Okay, then the fat has high melting point and solid in nature high melting point and solid in nature. That is, these are the fat. But oil also triglyceride, but oil has low melting point. Oil has low melting point. For that they are liquid in normal temperature. They are liquid in normal temperature. They has low melting point, and in normal temperature they are liquid in condition. Okay, wax are the esters of fatty acid with alcohols other than the glycerol. Okay, so what is the difference between the neutral fat and wax? Neutral fat has three one glycerol. Neutral fat has one glycerol molecule and three fatty acid molecule. But in wax has esters of fatty acid with alcohols other than glycerol. That is the difference. Here glycerol is present in case of neutral fat, but in wax here glycerol are absent. Okay, so wax are these are the ester of fatty acid and alcohols other than glycerol. Fine. Then we discuss about the fatty acid. Then we discuss about the fatty acid. Fatty acid molecule is an unbranched chain of carbon atom. Fatty acid is an unbranched chain of carbon atom with each carbon atom forming 4 bonds to other atom. Okay, it has a carboxyl group at one end and hydrogen atom bonded to all or most carbon atom, forming a hydrocarbon chain. So fatty acid has two parts, that is a hydroxyl group and a long hydrocarbon chain. And the carboxyl group which is present in fatty acid, it provides the acidic properties to the fatty acid. Okay, so the carboxyl group provides the acidic nature of fatty acid. We can show fatty acid is composed of a carboxyl group and a long hydrocarbon chain. We can also classify the fatty acid into two groups. These are the saturated fatty acid and unsaturated fatty acid. Okay, what are the saturated fatty acid? Saturated fatty acid are those in which the carbon atoms are interlinked by single bond. Okay, and each carbon atom carries a hydrogen atom. Means no extra double bond is present in that fatty acid. So these fatty acids are called saturated fatty acid. So what are the saturated fatty acids? Saturated fatty acid means all the carbon atom are interlinked by single bond only. Okay, for that they have higher melting point and solid at normal temperature. They have higher melting point and solid at normal temperature. As example, saturated fatty acid. As example, there palmitic acid, stearic acid, etc. etc. Then unsaturated fatty acid. Unsaturated fatty acid has double bond. Okay, has double bond between the carbon atom. So the unsaturated fatty acid has an extra double bond between two carbon atom. If any fatty acid bears single or more extra double bond, single or more extra double bond. So these are the called unsaturated fatty acid. As example, oleic acid. As example, oleic acid, linoleic acid, linolenic acid, etc. These are the unsaturated fatty acid. Okay. Then I discuss about some additional things about lipid, such as first, essential fatty acid. Essential fatty acid. What is essential fatty acid? The fatty acid the fatty acid that cannot synthesize in our body. The fatty acid which does not synthesized by our body. Therefore, it's supplied in the diet. So it's supplied to the body through our diet. So these fatty acids are also called essential fatty acid, like essential amino acid. Okay. As example, linoleic acid. As example, linoleic acid and linolenic acid. These are the essential fatty acid. Okay. Another one, that is the hydrogenation. Okay. What is hydrogenation? The process of conversion of unsaturated fatty acid into saturated fatty acid. The conversion process of unsaturated fatty acid to saturated fatty acid. This process is called hydrogenation. By hydrogenation, we can prepare the banospati ghee from the from the vegetable oil. We can make banaspati ghee from vegetable oils. This process also called hydrogenation. Then another one is saponification, the soap formation. This process is called saponification. What is saponification? Saponification, the hydrolysis of triglycerol by alkaline substance to produce glycerol and soaps. Okay, the hydrolysis of triglycerol by alkaline solution to produce the glycerol and soaps is called saponification. So what is saponification? Saponification, the hydrolysis of triglycerols the hydrolysis of triglycerols by alkali such as KOH to produce glycerol and soaps. This process is called saponification. Okay. Then another term is rancidity. Rancidity means degradation of lipid. Degradation process of lipid. In that case, they produces a foul smell. This process is called rancidity. It occurs in after some microbial reaction. Okay. You also need to remember that the antioxidant. What is antioxidant? The substance which can prevent the occurrence of oxidative rancidity. Is called antioxidant. The substances which prevent the occurrence of oxidative rancidity is called antioxidant. Some antioxidant are hydroquinone as example, gallic acid, alpha naphthol, etc. are used in trace amount to to the commercial preparation of fat are added to the commercial preparation of fat and oils to prevent rancidity. So these components such as hydroquinone, gallic acid majorly used, gallic acid, alpha naphthol, etc. are added to the commercial preparation of fat and oils to prevent the rancidity. Okay. You also remember that. You also remember about sphingolipid. You also remember about sphingolipid. What is sphingolipid? Sphingolipid is a compound or complex lipid. It is a compound or complex lipid, and the additional group is amino group. The amino group is the additional group in that case. It also known as sphingomyelin. It also known as sphingomyelin. Okay, sphingomyelin contains an additional phosphate. Sphingomyelin contains a additional phosphate attached to choline. It occurs in myelin sheath of nerve. Myelin sheath of nerve. So we can also classify the sphingolipid into three groups. These are the sphingomyelins, then cerebrosides, and gangliosides. Okay, so sphingolipid also classified into three groups such as sphingomyelin, cerebrosides, and gangliosides. The sphingomyelins are present. The sphingomyelins are present in the myelin sheath. Sheath of neuron. Okay. Cerebroside it is present in the membrane of neuron. And membrane of nerve. Present in the membrane of nerve. And gangliosides are the mainly present in in the gray matter. Present in the gray matter of CNC. Ganglioside is present in the gray matter of CNC. Remember only these things. Now we discuss about the derived lipid. Derived lipid are the derivatives which are derived lipids are the derivatives of lipid which are obtained by the hydrolysis of fats. Okay, hydrolysis of the fat. These are called derived lipid. Derived lipid are steroid, terpenes, and prostaglandin. Okay, so derived lipid are derived lipid. derived lipid which are obtained by the hydrolysis or from the hydrolysis of lipid. Okay, so these are called derived lipid. As example, steroid, first one steroid, second one terpene, and prostaglandin Okay, first steroid. Steroid has no fatty acid, but they are included in the lipid because they have the fat-like properties. Okay, steroid do not contain any fatty acid, does not contain any fatty acid, but are included in the lipid because they have fat-like properties. Many steroids are present in our biological system, such as cholesterol. You all know cholesterol, bile acid, vitamin D, sex hormone, adrenocortical hormones, means which are secreted from the adrenal cortex part, cardiac glycosides, and many alkaloids which are present in our biological system, means in our body or in body of the organisms. Okay, so that is so steroid is a very important things for the living organism. Then the terpenes are the lipid like hydrocarbons formed of isoprene units. So terpenes are the lipid like hydrocarbons formed from the isoprene units. Terpenes are the major component of essential oil produced by the certain plant. Okay, they impart fragrance to plant part. So terpene are the major component of essential oil produced by certain plants. Uh, the terpenes also present in the natural rubber, carotenoid pigment, lycopene is the pigment which are present in tomatoes. Lycopene, gibberellin like plant hormone also produced from the terpenes. So terpene also a important derived lipid which are present in organism. Prostaglandin. Prostaglandin are hormone-like compound derived from the 20-carbon polyunsaturated fatty acid such as arachidonic acid. Means prostaglandin are produced from the arachidonic acid, which are the hormone-like compound. The prostaglandin have many effect in our body. Prostaglandin have many effect in our body, such as they helps in the vasodilation, vasoconstriction, and stimulation of intestinal smooth muscle. Intestinal smooth muscle means it also helps in the peristaltic movement. Okay, so prostaglandin act as the vasodilator. Vasodilator means which relaxes, which increases the diameter of the blood vessels. They also act as the vasoconstrictor, which reduces the diameter of blood vessels, and it also helps in our peristaltic movement of our gut. Okay, so you also remember that the prostaglandin also a important derived lipid in our body.